Great Friday Night, the Turnbuckle Bandwagon. My guest today, out of the Lehigh Valley, big, stacked, he's a big dude from representing the LVAC. Big Dan Champion. Dan, what's up?
Matt, I'm well. How are you?
I'm great, man. For those who don't know, let's just get right into it. Give me like a summation of the LVAC. What should people who don't know, what should they know?
LVAC is it's a screen printing company in the Lehigh Valley, ran by a gentleman named Chris Reject. They've been around forever. They do a lot of shirts for a lot of wrestlers. I'm sure if you buy shirts from independent wrestlers, you have an LVAC shirt or a shirt that's printed by LVAC.
Respect there somewhere.
They about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, they started doing wrestling shows. Their theory is kind of like they could buy a billboard or advertising for a few $100s, but hey, let's do something fun instead. So they still advertise their stuff. You know, they're a company. They still market themselves that way, but it's fun. People can come. Before the pandemic, people would come, pack to this little bar. They've done shows at the drive-in. They've done shows at empty malls. It's really cool. They're a little bit different than other independents. They're not on IWTV. They're not on Fight. Like, you have to buy the DVD or go. That's it.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool place. It's a really awesome place. Like old school, yeah. It's an experience for those shows. It's an experience. They're very charitable. They always, like right now, they have a sale going on where they're selling some of their T-shirts. I think it's still going on, but $5 go to Turning Point Valley, which helps with recovering from drug addiction. Awesome. And there might be another charity it's going to that I can't think of right now, but they run a lot of charities like that.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, especially during the pandemic when no one was wrestling, it is very important to try and support the wrestlers that we like. Buy shirts from LVAC. What's its website, social media, somewhere folks can go to buy shirts and support?
Yeah. Oh man, let me pull that up right now. Their website is www.xlvacx.com.
Okay.
Let me get their Instagram real quick. Give me a second here.
I'll throw, when I put this up, we'll put a link into the description.
Yeah. I should also clarify that I wrestle for them. I support them. I buy their shirts, but I'm not like, don't email me for information or bookings or anything. I don't run the company. I don't work for them. It's a T-shirt company, but they're great friends of mine. I love them. I always support them. Their Instagram is the LVAC, the LVAC.
Awesome. That's great. Like I said, folks out there, be supportive. Click in. We'll put a link when we post this. Buy a shirt, buy 2, buy 3, buy 4. But I like the very old school feel. It feels very like old PWG from like back in the 2000s, where you either had to go or wait for the DVDs to come out, and that's just how it was.
Exactly like that. Yeah.
Excellent. Now on to you, Dan. Like I've seen you at Beyond Wrestling and a number of other promotions. About how long have you been wrestling?
My very first match was in 2003. Okay. So what's that? 18 years? It's a long time. I've been wrestling for a long time. But things are, now that I'm old, things are starting to pick up for me a bit more the past few years, which is awesome. So, patient pays off. But yeah, I've been wrestling a long time. The 2002, 2003, there weren't really many independent companies. No. There was like Ring of Honor that I guess was considered independent, but other than that, there wasn't much. No. So right now, people always I always see on Twitter right now that independents are dying because somebody got signed. They're not dying. 2003, go back to 2003. Go back in time 10 years and see how far it's gone. So everybody's just kind of settled down with all that talk, and nobody's dying. Independent wrestlers not dying. Like, it's a little dramatic at times, but so I've been wrestling for a long time. Right now, and on all my years of wrestling, is the best time if you're an independent wrestler. Not maybe right now the COVID, it's a different story, but before COVID, and once, God willing, we get over everything, it's a great time to be an independent wrestler.
Definitely. I was I'm older. I'm 42. I was there in the early 2000s where there was very, I mean, I'm in Connecticut. We had a couple independents like in Connecticut and maybe New York. I'd have to go into the city, but there wasn't anything up here. And when someone gets signed and it's like independents are gonna like, no, there are 3 shows this weekend. I've got I've got Double Vision on TV right now. There's a show tomorrow, and I think there's a show Sunday afternoon somewhere that's going to be on Fighter on IWTV. Indie wrestling is going to be fine.
Yeah,
we're in a bit of a different place, but it's going to be okay.
I agree.
I became a fan, and I asked this. I'd seen you kind of before Beyond, but I asked this of everyone who's gone to Beyond. You had your match at Please Come Back last year, about Six String Grill. When you walk out Beyond, when that crowd's all around the ring, what's that energy like when you walk out there as a wrestler?
Oh, that's a great. I love that. That's a great feeling. That atmosphere. That's like LVAC too. Like there's no sitting. Like everybody's up, everybody's there. You have a real connection with the crowd. There's a lot of there's like fire in that atmosphere. You know, everybody's alive, everybody's up, everybody's interactive. It's great. Way better than people's. I mean, I know it's normal for people to sit at these shows, but it's way better. You know, people up, making noise, excited. Nobody's when you're standing, you're not always on your phone. You're paying attention. You're not taking a nap. But yeah, it's great. That Beyond show was amazing. The atmosphere is really fun.
Yep. And you went up against that was Orange Cassidy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that punk ass Orange Cassidy. I should have won that match.
Yeah, I felt it.
Remember, he spit orange juice in my face.
Yeah, I saw that was aggressive.
Wait, did he? No, he didn't.
Did he? I think he tried to. I think there was some.
He didn't spit orange juice in my face. I'm wrong with that.
Oh, okay.
I drank his orange juice.
You did, yeah.
And I think it had something in it because after it was in my mouth, things changed for me. I started seeing double. I got lethargic. So he had something in the orange juice, and once I drank it, he got the advantage.
That was it. If I was, not that he talks much, but if I was to ask Orange Cassidy what it's like to be in the ring with Big Dan Champion, what would he say? What would his response be?
A nightmare. Shaking in his little sneakers. I mean, look at me, look at him. Yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah,
he's frightening.
So scared. So give everyone the tail of the tape, Dan. Give me height, give me weight, give me what you're lifting, what's a deadlift.
Sure. Right now I'm 6'5". I'm always gonna be 6'5" till I'm an old man. 280. I maxed my bench the other day. Like these numbers don't sound super impressive, but I maxed my bench at 335. Squat 425. Deadlift 465-ish. But I'm not a big max out guy. To me, doing a 1 rep max, like I know people bench like 4 or 5 and stuff. Like doing that 1 max is like, it looks cool. You could hurt yourself, and you're really like getting nothing out of it. You're not getting a good pump out of doing 1 rep. You know, so I'm not a big like this is my max guy, but I can put up some weight, no doubt.
And is in terms of diet, because they talk about this when you wrestle, is it vegan, vegetarian still? Is that where does that fall?
So before COVID, I was very, I guess we would consider plant-based. Okay. But you could call me vegan because everything was no dairy, no meat. Everything was a lentil or a vegetable. Okay. COVID affected me where I kind of got off that. So I'm trying to get back on right now. I eat a lot of fish. I still don't eat much meat, almost no meat, a lot of vegetables. Eventually I think I'll go back to being plant-based, but right now I do enjoy a nice fish meal at night.
Nice. With that sort of diet, is it easy to structure? When you went to that diet, did you just feel better as an athlete? Was there an adjustment period?
Yeah, there was an adjustment period, but I felt better. I had more stamina. I felt wasn't tired. I still felt strong. I lost weight. So I felt great. Yeah, I felt really good. It's hard. It's not easy. You get sick of eating, I wasn't big on like the Beyond Meat and things like that, like the processed fake meat.
Mm-hmm.
So like it'd be like a lot of chickpeas and a lot of black beans and stuff like that. So after a while, you kind of get tired of that. It's boring after a while. I mean, and I'm not a good cook. That's the other problem. Like I can't make a great meal. Like I can make black beans with rice. That's what I ate like almost all the time. Okay. Salads with chickpeas. Breakfast was overnight oats, which is pretty good. I still eat overnight oats for breakfast every day. But you know, no pain, no gain. That's part of it.
Okay. Oh, still there? Thought I almost lost you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I got you. Just kind of lost the video, got a little weird. Anyway, I mean, it just sounds like, you know, but I guess it's getting in now, just getting into a routine. You feel good. And I think it's important because you're seeing more and more athletes go that way to where that plant-based or very plant heavy. And honestly, I think it's important even for fans and for people to see, and you see this across sports now. You've got a lot of basketball players, football players who are leaning into that diet. And I mean, I think it's different and it's great. Not that you're using it as like a gimmick per se, but it's showing, hey, you know, people have.
To be honest, I did have T-shirts. I did have T-shirts that said plant-based athlete,
Okay.
So I did use it for a gimmick a little bit, but that's fine. You gotta use what you gotta use, you know. But no, it was something for, and hopefully I can get back to it. It's hard. That's the hardest thing, starting it. You know, once you get into it for a couple weeks, it's not that bad, but just making that decision, like, hey, you'll never have a pizza. Well, I won't say never, but you can't have pizza right now. You can't, you know, I don't know how pizza is in Connecticut, but pizza here in the Lehigh Valley is fantastic.
Oh, we have good pizza.
Just making that commitment to like, my diet's things I eat are gonna not be what I really want to eat. So it's hard to make that dive sometimes, but it's worth it. I'm definitely going to give it another go around.
Nice. No, we're up here in the pizza corridor, so Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. We've got
good for you.
We've got the good stuff up here. Let's talk a little wrestling. You know, we had COVID. What was prior to kind of everything shutting down? What do you remember the last match you wrestled before everything kind of stopped?
I did, and it was an LVAC show, and we were hired by a local advertising award committee. Okay. So I forget the name of this place, but they were a committee for local advertising. So they would have an award show with like all different local businesses, and they'd play the commercials. So their theme was wrestling. So they had us come and do matches, which was very weird because they weren't wrestling fans.
Okay.
They didn't know anything we were doing. Like I remember being out there and like looking up, and everybody's like in the line for the buffet. So it was very weird. Probably the weirdest show I ever wrestled. And there's like no tape of it. It was like a private event. Okay. But it was me. Let me see if I can remember the match. Is me, Murloc. Maybe it was just me and Murloc. Me and Murloc against Green Ant and Ultra Mantis Black.
Oh,
so it was a fun match. Yeah. But it was a weird little show. But then before that was, Please Come Back was very close to that.
Yeah.
I might have done one or two other ones, but then everything just hit. I had a few shows lined up. I had a show for Flying V, which I don't think they're around anymore, but Flying V, we couple LVAC shows that were going to be really cool in the summer. So there's some stuff that got canceled because of COVID that I was really looking forward to, but everybody can say the same thing. And
now, as we get back, are you feeling? We'll get to the chugging in a bit because I want to talk about that. As we get back into wrestling, like have you been wrestling since, and like how has it been feeling after being off for a bit and now kind of having to get back up to speed?
No, it's been fine. For whatever reason, right now I'm getting like more work than I've ever had. I have shows lined up for the next month and a half into April, so it's been great. I feel good. I'm older, so I have to like make sure I'm smart with what I do, make sure I feel good and I stretch. I'm very aware that I could, knock on wood, could tear something at any second. Anything can happen at any second, but when you get older, it's a little bit different. And I have a life, so I can't miss my real job because I got hurt wrestling. It wouldn't fly. But no, yeah, I feel good. I feel as good as I ever have, to be honest. And it's exciting.
Is it interesting in terms of, because you said you've been wrestling since 2003, fast forward 17 years and now you're working more than you've ever worked. People are noticing. Is it, and I'm trying to figure out the right way to put it, do you kind of look at it and be like, is it a feeling of, okay, people get it? Or is it a feeling of, hey, if people are into me, people are into me. It's just taken this long.
Yeah. It's not that people get it. It's when do I get it? It's never the people that they don't get what I'm doing. It's my job to figure out what they want. It's okay. If somebody's wrestling and then they're like, hey, I'm not getting booked, I'm not getting looked at, they have to figure out, it's not the fans that don't get you. You're not getting the fans and what they want. Or you're not working on yourself. You're not making yourself better. A lot of stuff's content based right now. What kind of content are you putting out? It's a lot of it's all that stuff mixed into one. So yeah, I have no regrets about, when I wasn't getting like that booked or nobody noticed me. It's my fault. Things I didn't do or didn't get. But like I said, I'm older now, but I'm not ancient. I'm in good shape. I can move. I'm focused. So I'm happy. I'm glad. Like right now, if this is like the best it gets for me, that's fine. I'm 100% content with that.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm a fan again, but again, I'm as an older fan. I mean, I'm 42, so I've been watching wrestling since I was 10 years old. But
yeah,
there's folks. I mean, talk about age a little bit. There's older guys up here in their 30s, but they're in that kind of same place where they're getting more work, but people are into them now and they're just having a good time. Do you feel a little less anxious than maybe you did when you were younger going into matches or shows or events?
No, it's about the same. Some of the shows now, now it's a little bit different because, before when I wrestled or, let's say 5 years ago, there's no streaming service, there's no IWTV. So now it's a little bit more nervous because you have to think, I'm just not wrestling for the people here. I'm wrestling for people at home right now watching. So I'd say I don't want to say more anxious, but it's more to think about. But no, I feel the same than I did in the past to now. Not that I'm anxious. I don't want to say I'm anxious. I'm pretty relaxed, to be honest, but I'm focused the same. So that hasn't changed.
And I mean, and during the course of the, pandemic, folks not wrestling, what was it tough to stay in a good headspace, like mentally and physically, not knowing when you're going to wrestle again?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's two part. One, it was hard because the gyms were closed. That affected me more than wrestling not being around.
It sucks.
Like wrestling. I mean, wrestling's a part of my life, but it's not all my life. If it's all your life, then you'll go crazy. You see it sometimes. You'll go insane. So it sucked. I missed it. I miss seeing my friends. I miss wrestling in front of a crowd.
Yep.
But I was more worried about my real job. I work for in healthcare, so that was kind of worrisome during COVID. I was more worried about my friends and family during COVID. So wrestling was on the back burner. I knew one day that'll come back whenever. Hope, fingers crossed, that's going to come back. So during the pandemic, I missed it, but I didn't lose any sleep over it.
Okay. Kind of the same. I have a day job and I was like, okay, wrestling happens. I'm not a wrestler, but as someone who's doing content,
right?
If wrestling happens, okay. But yeah, I've got lucky enough to have a day job and routine. So,
and I should also say that that's my situation. I know there's people that their only income is doing shows every weekend. So that affected them way more than it affected me.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that extra cash flow, but it won't make or break me. But other people it will. So, I feel for them during this. And, if you ask them the same question, it might be totally different than mine. and with good reason. If that's their income and that's how they have to feed their family, then it's 100% different than what I did. So it affected me differently probably than other wrestlers.
Gotcha. See, we got a little bit of serious. Now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. Speaking of content, you're out here teaching the young folks how to chug on Twitter. How did that?
That's right.
What the St. Patty's Day? The only thing I recognized was the bottle of Jameson and the Guinness. What else was in there?
So a Dublin dropper or an Irish bomb, that is Guinness, Jameson, and Bailey's. You ever have Bailey's?
Oh yeah.
It's like a cream ale. It's like a cream liquor. So yeah. So you put the fill shot glass with half of Jameson and Bailey's, and you drop it in the glass, and you got to chug it, or that's going to curl and it's going to be gross. So you got to chug it before it curls.
And what was the genesis of just let me chug, chug on the internet for folks?
I've always been good at chugging. I've always been, back in my heyday, I was a great drinker. I was really good. If one thing I excelled at in my 20s, it was drinking. And I'm drinking as much as I used to. Not that I had an issue. I was more like a weekend party boy kind of guy. But I do enjoy beer. I got a little whiskey ginger tonight.
Nice.
So I think during the pandemic, there was a lot of things at one time that said give chug a beer or tag 5 friends. And I would see it. I look at some of these chugs and I'm like, that's it, So I started chugging and everybody, well, that's pretty good. So I started, I was like, maybe this could be some cool content. So I did it, that was the genesis of it. And I started doing it every day. Then after 25 days, I started to feel like garbage in the morning.
Oh, gee.
I gained weight. So I don't do it every day. I do it sporadically because I can't doing it every day.
Oh God.
I felt like crap. And I would only drink that one. I chugged that one and I wouldn't, that was it. I don't really drink during the week, but I felt like garbage. So I only do it every now and then. And if I do it, it's like doing something crazy. Like on the St. Patrick's Day, I had the big stein that had 3 Guinnesses in it. Throw 3 shots in it, chug it. Got to make them count now. So yeah, it got me, it got over, I guess, because it got over, but no, it got me some followers. It was good content. People seemed to enjoy it. Just my gut and my weight did not enjoy it. So I had to kind of cut back with it.
Yeah. I was never
but whatever.
I was never much of a chugger, but when I was in the service years ago in my 20s, one of my buddies, this kid named Terry Kramer, kind of looked very similar, very solid kid, was a big chugger. He would grab 1 or 2 beers and just so kind of harkens me back to my 20s as well. Now as we come out of COVID and we kind of get back to a new normal, you're back wrestling again. Is there anyone you've seen out there that you want to get in the ring with that, maybe you didn't have a chance to, or maybe you were going to over this summer and it didn't happen, or over the past year?
Yeah. So some of these shows I've been doing, I've seen people I've never seen before.
That's cool.
Killian's awesome.
I've interviewed Killian. He's a fun
really
guy.
Cool.
He's a fun guy.
He's really good. Yeah, he's really good. Erica Lee.
Yeah.
Lee. See, it's weird. Her last name, it reads to me. We have a college here called Lehigh, and it reads the same as Lehigh. So I have to try to never call her Lehigh because it's the same spelling. So I always mess her name up. I'm an idiot. A very good professional wrestler who's a good friend of mine. I always have fun with him. I want to wrestle him again. Yeah. The Boar. You know the Boar? The Boar's War?
I'm familiar with the Boar. I've seen him. Very large individual.
I love the rest of the Boar. Yeah. And there's many others. Rex Lawless.
Yep. He's seen him wrestling at Beyond.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's a handful of people. Jeff Cannonball. I wrestled him a couple of times like in tag matches, but it'd be really cool to go one-on-one.
You get someone to sign that match. He can do his soda thing. You can do your chugging thing. Maybe you can do like a cross promotion thing.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe I could try to get into the chug a soda.
Yeah.
That's probably harder than chugging a beer. Chugging a soda would be way harder than chugging a beer.
I say give it a shot.
I'm almost positive. Yeah. I'll talk him into it.
Exactly. You're both good. You're both big guys. Go for it, man. Grab a random soda.
Yeah.
Chug it. Give a review.
I'll race him. He could pick like a soda, like a ginger ale or something that's like not too like carbonated and bubbly. Yeah. And he could pick my beer, and I bet I could chug 2 beers before he chugs 1 soda. Jeff Cannonball, this is an open challenge to you. I'll chug 2 beers before you can chug 1 soda. No doubt about it.
All right. I'll clip that. We'll make sure Jeff is aware. You mentioned very good professional wrestler. He's like yourself. He's been wrestling long time. I've wanted, because I've seen you've wrestled him a number of times.
Yeah.
He's, it's the name is so on the nose. It's just, he's very good at this wrestling.
Yeah. It fits him. Yeah. It fits him very well. He's the man.
He is. It's just, I had a question about him. It escapes me, but I would assume that if you needed to tag with somebody, is he probably your number one choice?
Absolutely. He's up there. Like I said, the Boar is up. I've tagged with the Boar before. But yeah, those guys would be guys. Lucky 13's another guy. I tagged with him recently, but he's my old tag team partner from way back in the day. Gotcha. Tagging with him, awesome. Yeah, but I love a very good professional wrestler. I would always love to tag with him. I like being around him. We have a lot in common. So he's always fun.
Yeah, and you named all big guys. We've got a number of big guys here in New England that you can come up and get in the ring with. Guys like
absolutely.
Guys like Rip Bison.
Yeah.
Wrecking Ball Legursky is another one I can think of off the top of my head. There's a number of.
I just saw him. Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, Tyree Taylor has been working.
Big guys are in. Big guys are in.
Big guys are they're. Not, I don't want to say they were gone and coming back, but they're big guys are in fashion again.
Yep.
And before we wrap up here, and I appreciate the time, Dan. I see your Springsteen poster back there. I have friends who are big the Boss Springsteen fans. Is it he's had this like enduring fan base that you really don't see in music a lot. What do you think is what's the why? Is it just the music is that good over 20, or is just, I'm kind of a fan, but I'm not like fan. So if what do you think has been appeal over 30 years? He's been huge since I was a kid.
Yes. Yeah. He's been huge since like the 70s, like Born to Run and things like that. So I think one thing is his music evolves a lot. Like it's different, if you hear like, let's say Born to Run is different than Dancing in the Dark. Then you have like a acoustic album with Ghost of Tom Joad, which is a great song. Then you have like The Rising in early 2000s. That was, different than anything, and so on from song, even up to this Urian album that was pretty good. And then what every Springsteen fan is going to tell you is his live concerts are amazing. There's nothing like him. I always try to like kind of compare it when I wrestle. I'm like, I gotta like get that energy. Like the guy goes 4 hours long. Yeah. The crowd's into it every second, and it's a work. It's no different really than wrestling. He does things to make you feel a certain way. He talks about one thing he talks about that I think can directly relate to pro wrestling is he talks about, there's him and there's a crowd. And they have to make that extra thing, it's the connection between them that makes like that magic or that spark or that fire or that spirit in the air, in the atmosphere that makes a show totally different, transcendent on another level. So that's always something. And I don't know. I can't. I'm not Bruce Springsteen, obviously. I can't crack that code, but I try. When I wrestle, I always try to be very interactive with the fans. I'm always a heel. But even with that, I don't wrestle for myself, if that makes sense. I don't wrestle to get myself more popular by having stuff on Twitter. That's all good, and that's a byproduct. But I wrestle for the people there. They're paying a ticket. They're the ones that deserve to be focused on. So if it's yelling at a kid, if it's, something, just to try to, you see a lot of matches and there are a lot of cool moves, but you're like, this person's, I didn't even look at the crowd. They didn't even make eye contact with one person there.
Yeah.
So like, if you look at my match from Beyond, a little sign from somebody.
Yeah.
So that's something I like to do a lot. A bunch of Springsteen concerts, and that's how I felt like it was a script for something.
Yeah.
So at a wrestling show, you want everybody to feel like they're a part and they're involved. So there's my long-winded answer for you.
No, I was fine with that. I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the Beyond show, like you, because everyone is excited to see Orange Cassidy. You jerk, in his jeans, but you come out. Out and you start yelling at people. You take the sign, and instantly that crowd just is like, "Boo, Dan!" And I'm like, you can't appreciate Orange Cassidy without having the foil. I mean, the foil, and that's derisive, but it works. And then you're up there talking about, I'm plant-based, I'm healthy. You're all a bunch of like gross folks. And it worked.
Yeah.
I was watching on I was supposed to go to that show. I couldn't go, but I just enjoy that sort of thing when you can find
it's fun
thing that works. If Springsteen was a wrestler, what type of wrestler do you think he'd be? Would he be like the brawler type, technical type? Where do you think he'd fall?
I think it'd be gritty, a brawler and gritty. 100%.
Just keep hitting him. He keeps getting up. He's that guy that keeps getting up.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Well, Dan, before I let you go again, thank you so much for the time. Do you have anything coming up? I know stuff gets recorded. So is there stuff coming up that you can talk about, or do you have stuff coming up?
I have something tomorrow, but this probably won't be out by then. But I'll just say I'm at Camp Leapfrog a lot. Pizza Party Pro Wrestling, I'll be there soon. When is this coming out?
Probably beginning to middle of next week, because I'd have to do some editing and.
Okay. Camp Leapfrog Pizza Party. There's gonna be other things that announced soon. I won't mention them here because I can't spill the beans. But soon there'll be other things announced. But like I said, I'll get Camp Leapfrog, Pizza Party Pro Wrestling. I'll be there. And that's all I can name right now, but there's other stuff in the works.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're recording this on Friday. I know there's a Camp Leapfrog show tomorrow night.
I'm on the one tomorrow, and then there's one on Sunday, which I won't be at. Okay,
so the one tomorrow, are you wrestling? Who are you in there with?
I don't know, because it's like a fans choose the matches, and I don't think they announced it.
They've got all kinds of fans pick stipulations.
Let's see. Yeah, so I've got nothing here that tells me my match. So hopefully I know before I get in the ring tomorrow.
All I know is there's something involving like the goons and dog food. That's all I know.
So that match is announced. They had the goons. I can't remember everybody in this match. There's so many people, but one of the stipulations was the loser has to eat dog food, which I would love to see.
It's very old school, like WCCW. Loser eats dog food, that sort of thing. Dan, where can people find you where can people find you on social media and such?
So I usually go strictly with Twitter. And my Twitter is Big Dan Champion.
Big Dan Champion. Folks, Big Dan Champion, LVAC will track down the link for the LVAC website. We'll get that in the description for this interview, and we'll get this up at some point. Hopefully in the next week. I got editing to do. Dan, again,
perfect.
Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And you have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Have a nice night. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.